Now 250,000. Now, but to get 275 high, but to get 275 3. Now 300,000. Now 3 1/4, 325 high, but to get 3 1/4, but to get 325. Now half. Now but to get 300.
And good morning, live from Dallas. It is November the 8th, 2021, and we're at Lincoln Center in the heart of North Dallas, right across from the Galleria, and I want to welcome you to the Mike McGavel Jones Show. We got an interesting show today. We've got a great piece of property we want to talk about, and we're going to recap the last week or so on what's going on. One thing that I would like to let you know about that this part of the show is brought to you by carsforkids.org. That's cars with a C. And carsforkids.org, of course, is a passion of mine. We support Texan Canned Cars for Kids and American Canned Cars for Kids as well. Right off the car, not the kid. And that's our mantra. And to tell you a little bit about it, just so you know, we're all about education. And we are doing our best to educate the youth of America. We have our own schools, and they get the greatest education that you can possibly get. If you have a vehicle, whether it's a car or a truck or a boat or some other type of vehicle related, maybe a motorcycle or an RV, we would love to have a donation from you. And you will certainly get your IRS write-off as well as a $50 gift card. It'll be a Visa gift card that will be given to you for your donation as well as the write-off gift. So if you'd like to do that, we'd like to have you contact the folks at carsforkids.org. You can call them at 972-274-5437. And I'll repeat that number a couple of times during the show. And if you'll call that number, if you have a vehicle you'd like to donate, tell them that Mike Jones sent you, and they'll certainly appreciate that. And that will let them know that you're watching the show and that you're a part of this as well. We've got some things going on this last week. It's been a very unusual week. Well, first off, if you watched the game yesterday, the Cowboys decided they did not want to be a part of it. And the Denver Broncos handed them a resounding defeat. The score does not reflect the game at all. It was pretty much over when they kicked the ball off, so it wasn't a very good game. And hopefully they'll make a comeback. But also I want to talk about some things over this past week. We've had a lot of interesting things happen on most of you know that about a month ago we had a little health scare. And I ended up in the hospital for a couple of days. Well, doggone it happened again Friday. And we were having an evening planned with our friend Trevor and Laura Hall here on the North Dallas Tollway. And I was enjoying a glass of wine. And evidently, my body no longer likes to partake in alcohol. And so I ended up in the hospital Friday night and all day Saturday. And after an MRI and some other things, the doctor was very clear about some things that I need to do to counter any negative results from this minor stroke that I had. So never thought that was going to be an issue, but it is. And so we're going to have to take some measures about that. I want to give a shout out to Philip Braun and our crew that handled the auction on Saturday night for Operation Kindness. We had a nice fundraiser for canines, cats, and Cabernet, which I've been involved with for close to 20 years. I was looking forward to being there, but that was an impossible thing that just didn't happen. And but they had an outstanding event, and from what I understand, they were tickled to death and very happy with the outcome. So I want to give a good shout out to the folks that worked for us there. Sunday afternoon, we attended a memorial service for a gentleman named Van Lawrence. And if you lived in Collin County or the North Dallas area or out in Lake Granbury area. Van was a very well-known individual. He was a cowboy. He was a very successful contractor. He could build anything, and but he lived out at the lake as well and spent a lot of time out there. My understanding, and I met Van several times, but he would do anything for anybody. He was very in tune with the Texas country music scene, and they had a nice memorial service for him up in McKinney yesterday. And during that time, they probably had a half a dozen of the Texas music performers come in and play a celebration and tributes to Van, and it was a full house. But anyway, we want to give a shout out to Vicky and his family, and just let them know that we're thinking about them, and send some love that way, because we know how hard that can be. I do want to mention this weekend, we are doing an auction for Notre Dame School. We've been with Notre Dame School for a long time. I will be conducting that auction, and I promise I'll be there. But also on Sunday, they'll be having the open auctioneering contest in Nashville, Tennessee at the Embassy Suites near the airport. So I was talking to my friend Jay Cash, and my understanding is he and Shane Carroll and some others, Shane McCarroll and some of the others, are putting that auctioneer contest together. The first prize is $1,000. Second prize is $500. And they have a rookie contest if you've been in the business for 3 years or less. So I highly recommend, if you're within the shout of my voice and you can be in Nashville on Sunday, they're going to have a neat little contest, and we'd love to have you there. I might even make an appearance there myself. So that's a possibility. At this time, that just kind of gives you a roundup on some of the things going on, and we'll have some other things to talk about too in a little bit. But right now, I'd like to fast forward to Landrum, South Carolina. And I have been out to Landrum, South Carolina a couple of times now, and we have with us Paula Morgan. And Paula is rocking, she's rocking it in Landrum on Clark's Mountain. And good morning, Paula. Okay, I can't hear. There we go. Say that again. Did you say good morning?
I did. I said good morning, and it's absolutely gorgeous up here.
It looks like it's gorgeous. I think we have similar weather here too as well. This is about as good as fall gets, I think. I've sat there on that porch before, and it's an unbelievable place where you're located right now. And there's no way we can share how beautiful the place is, although we are going to show a video that we shot on the property and also some photographs, and we'll do that here in just a little bit. Paula, tell us a little bit about yourself. Now, where do you actually live now?
I live in Spartanburg, South Carolina, and I've lived there since really 1969, when I came to go to Converse College. And then I met my husband there, and the rest is history.
Yeah. And so what all did you do in your I understand you had a working career as well.
I did. Started out as a pianist and began a passionate career in teaching piano to all grade levels, all levels of everything from young children through adults. And that was a passion I had. And I joined the pre-college at Converse College and became a faculty member there in piano. Then I left, opened my own studio for 3 years, and came back and was to direct the program. So I directed the program for 22 years and continued to teach also pedagogy in the college. So retired in 2015.
Well, now you're sitting in the rocking chair.
Yes, I am. I am up here. I'll tell you, it is glorious. And driving up from Spartanburg, the Blue Mountains, and you could see as far as the eye could see. It was just fabulous.
So you're sitting on Clark's Mountain, and you're literally sitting on 166 roughly acres on a mountaintop. You drive up to it. You just wind your way up the gravel road, and then all of a sudden you're at the top of this mountain, and the home that you're at, that you're located at right now, actually was like a hunting cabin. Is that right?
It was built, or at least we bought that property in 1919, but it was originally built. They're not sure exactly when the house was built. The property was purchased by the previous owner in 1904, and they did build this as a hunting lodge for the property, and it really looks like a hunting lodge, and it's really, really a beautiful place to be.
First time you and I met was there at the lodge, and you gave me the original tour because we were talking about the possibility of putting the property up for sale and potentially put it up for auction, which we are going to do, and it's going to be an online auction. And tell me a little bit about your experiences growing up on that property. We're going to talk more about details, but you're right above Landrum, and you're near Tryon, North Carolina, and also Lake Lanier, I understand, is near you as well. How far is that?
It would be about a mile maximum, and you remember driving around it and how gorgeous that lake is. So it's really, I think it takes us 10 minutes from the top of the mountain to get down to Lake Lanier.
Well, and everything,
so it's a gorgeous space.
Pretty much everything you could possibly want is right there. It's within an hour of the Greenville-Spartanburg Airport, the international airport there, which I've flown out of 2 or 3 times now. And then we're not that far from North Carolina. How far are we from North Carolina?
Actually, we are directly between Landrum and Tryon. And Tryon is in North Carolina, and we are actually located in South Carolina. So you can get down quickly, 15 minutes to the interstate, and just hop up to Brevard, Hendersonville, Asheville, and be in the Blue, or near the Blue Ridge Parkway. It is an exquisite drive.
So tell me about the family and the ownership of the property. You're the historian on the property, so I've been,
Not really.
Well, of course, it's been in the family since 1919. So kind of tell me what that property has meant to you and your family over, going on 100 years here.
It has been a magical place for me since February of, let's think, 1973, when my husband actually brought me up for our second date. And I fell in love with it immediately. And it really became a paradise for the two of us and, of course, our whole family. But originally, Charlie's father, Alfred Morgan, his father bought the property, and in 1919, as you said. And from that time, it became really such a place for all of us to gather. But for me personally, I fell in love with it, fell in love with the house. And at that time, Charlie's mother was up here a great deal. And we celebrated actually an engagement party for the two of us up here. Friends of us gave it right here at the mountain. We had many, many, many times when we would have large parties, actually, walking up to the top of the mountain, which has another gorgeous view, and having tables set up. And my husband loved to garden, and so did the rest of the family, and it was all beautiful and a rather amazing experiences.
When you walk onto the property, you feel like you're stepping back in time. The stonework on the home it just beckons back an entirely different time. You would not think that it is 2021. Every time I go there, I've thought that if I were wanting to write a book, or if I wanted to write music, or if I wanted to put a music studio in it, it would be the quintessential getaway to get off the grid and get away from the modern day that we live with. And the beautiful thing is, where you're located, we have outstanding cell service because we're on a mountaintop. So all of the various phone towers are close. But then you can go down the mountaintop. You go down the bottom, and you've got all the restaurants, all of the store. Everything you need is right there. And if you need something bigger, you can always drive 30 to 40 minutes over to Greenville, Spartanburg, and mix it up with those people down there if you want to. But really, you've got everything within 10 minutes from where you are.
You really do, but I have to go back to the fact that people come here and they are transformed. And I will tell you that Charlie and I came up and experienced the greatest peace that you would ever find. And it may sound dramatic to say that. But actually sitting on the porch or in the patio or even curled up in our beds reading books with hot coffee, coming up here takes you completely away. And I think so many people need that now, maybe more than ever. And you will find all the guests that would come and visit, had many dinner parties, etc. Coming right here, they would all of a sudden totally relax, release, and absolutely be themselves. So we have had really magical experiences for me, 50 years, and for Charlie, his entire life, and the rest of the family, of course.
So as time has gone by, and like so many families, it's become a time where the family has decided to sell the property and save those memories and allow someone else. And when you think about it, 1919, my grandfather, who passed away 20, 30 years ago, he was born in 1914. My grandmother was born in 1918. And so, when you think about the fact that you guys have owned that property, a couple of lifetimes for some families.
Absolutely.
But you guys have decided it's time to sell it. Is that right?
That is correct.
Well,
it's hard. It's very hard to do, and we have loved it for all of these years. But it has come to that time, and I will say that my greatest hope is that we sell it to someone, several people, whoever, but people who will actually experience the same kind of joy and amazement that we have all these years. And I love having the video that you all have taken of it, because that's something we can have forever. But I do look forward to sharing this amazing site.
Sure. Well, I know that you're there with Brenda Daly. She runs our United Real Estate office in Aiken, South Carolina, and I've been working now with Brenda for several years. We've sold several properties together. And I know she is assisting you with our broadcasting efforts today, and I want to thank her for that as well.
Thank the dear Lord that Brenda's here. That's all I can say, because I would not be doing very well.
Oh, well, I had all the faith in the world in you. Looks like okay. She's back. Well, I'm glad that and I appreciate that. She's been a very busy person too, and she's been a lot of help for us, and I know that she is helping in showing the property and giving the people an opportunity to see it. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a minute. Stand by, Paula, just a minute. I want to remind everybody that this portion of the show is brought to you by carsforkids.org. And of course, we have a location here in Dallas. We have a location in Houston and other locations. But here's the thing. You can donate your car or your truck or your RV or your jet ski or your forklift or your camper or your motorcycle. Any of these items you can donate to carsforkids.org, and you can do that anywhere in the United States. All 50 states we have coverage, and you're certainly welcome to donate anywhere in the United States. All you have to do is call us, and you can call us at 972-274-5437. And if you'll call there and just tell them that Mike Jones sent you, they'll make a note of that as well. And then they'll be able to help you out. And I appreciate all the folks over at our location here in Dallas. Texans Canned Cars for Kids, of course. I was the auctioneer for almost 10 years and had a great relationship with Malcolm and the staff over there and Colin and all the good folks. And we appreciate them very, very much. But it's about the education, and I'll touch on that at the closing segment today. But anyway, once again, keep in mind, right off the car, not the kid. And it's carsforkids.org, and that's with a C, not a K. All right, I'm back. So, Paula, we have shot a video of the property, and I know you have seen it. You have anything you'd like to say about the video before we play it? I'm not sure she can hear me. Okay, well, why don't you, Travis, why don't you go ahead and, there you go. Can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
I can hear you well. I know that you saw the work we did on the video. What would you like to say about it as we lead into it here in just a second?
I will say, first of all, that I wept through the whole thing. I found it poetic, beautifully shot, and it really encapsulates the whole feel. I feel you get the real aura of being here when you watch it. It took me a long time to watch it without weeping, but now I can watch it for the sheer beauty of it and share it with friends who have really enjoyed the house as well. So thank you.
You're very welcome. And that was a team effort with the United Strategic Client Services team, along with Brenda and her folks in Aiken, and also Trent with our office here in Dallas. So we're very happy that you enjoyed the video. Travis, I think it's time to show it if you'd like to, and we'll go silent on both of our ends. And if you'll show the video, they're going to see what we're talking about. All right. That was the video that was shot at Clark's Mountain in outside of Landrum, South Carolina, and I think it's a very good representation of what it looks like. Are you there, Paula? They may be having a little bit of a technical difficulty there.
I'm here, and I wanted to say one more thing.
Go ahead.
If any watching that have books, travels around the world, you can imagine fires in the fireplaces and the warmth and the joy that was experienced for lifetimes. A great place.
Well, I know you're very passionate about it, as well as all of the rest of your family, and it's very emotional. You know, to make the decision to sell the place. Of course, I was involved from the beginning of talking about this with the rest of the family, and it was a very emotional, you know, that's what happens when you have something that's as historic to a family as this, because all of your family has been a part of this property pretty much most of your lives, and it affects not only one generation but multiple generations, and there's a sadness that goes with it, but then you know, you also have to look at what the great things about the property and what it brought to the family for weddings and gatherings and birthdays and the weekends spent on top of the mountain. And so, you know, not everyone gets to have that. So I know that you're grateful and the rest of your family is grateful. You know, just as a side discussion, you know, we've been thinking about different things that people could do with the property. Of course, you could be a single owner, or multiple families that buy the property and keep it as is. It could still be a lodge like it is, or it could be a family retreat, a corporate retreat. It could be a bed and breakfast, I'm sure, if somebody wanted to go about getting that approved. Personally, I look at it as a place to get away. You know, if I were to have that property, I would look at it as a place where you could actually sit and write in your diary. You could write a book. If John Grisham ever wanted to get away from his area and go to a place like this, I can't think of a better place to be than on top of that mountain to write a book, because the solitude that you would have would be unbelievable. You know, I couldn't help but think. And I see a lot of properties, and people know that I travel around the country and around the world looking at different types of properties, but you couldn't help but think about Walton Mountain, and that was one of the things that I thought about. You know, I could just see the Waltons.
Now that's interesting.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know,
I love that.
Yeah, well, but you know, it's that rustic. I mean, it's real, and it's not contrived, and it's not. It's not 1950 wrapped around. I mean, when you walk on that property and you walk on that porch and you walk inside that structure, it just beckons you back to a historic time, just a totally different time. And I love the place.
Even as it is, you know, without any of the things inside, which really did span the 100 years. Even going into the house now is exactly as you represent it. And I think that does have a quality that is hard to find in a lot of properties out there. They are newer or whatever. I will also add that you certainly have a lot of property to grow, to have visions, to perhaps build a house on the very top of the mountain. But I feel that your imagination really can run wild up here as far as possibilities. I even believe that at some point there might have been peach orchards going down the front of the mountain. So really the sky's the limit on this, I think.
I also know that Tryon is very close to where you're located, and it is kind of the epicenter for equestrian events. It's kind of the mecca for equestrian
Absolutely.
events, and that's not to be taken lightly, because anyone that shows horses or that trains horses, they've got the Tryon Equestrian Center. That's a 1,400-acre facility that is kind of like an oasis. If you're into horses, whether you're from New York or upstate New York, Pennsylvania, North and South Carolina, the Virginias, down to Florida, it's an easy place to get to. But it really is the community for equestrian events and a place to be. If you are an equestrian, or you plan on training, or you want to work with the best in the world, people come to Tryon. And that's what I understand.
And I will say, too, that even before the International Equestrian Center, Tryon, for its entire history, has been horse country. And every spring, for instance, they've always had a steeplechase that was extremely looked forward to, shall we say. And we all dressed, brought picnics, and had the best time about the second or third weekend in April. And often we spent a day in the sun watching the races, having a wonderful time. And then we would all come up to the mountain. And Charlie's mother very often would have big pots of coffee and such to sort of, in a sense, bring us all down to earth. But we had wonderful times. So the horse community and the horse properties in this area are just stunning.
I've been a lot of places. I can't think of a place that's more beautiful. And what's really nice about it, it's really easy to get in and out of. A lot of places you go to, it takes a good amount of time to get there. And then the traffic is so terrible when you get there, just trying to get out. I can think of different places I've been in Arkansas and Tennessee. And one thing about this, it's easy to get to I-26. And I-26 is just a major corridor, and easy to get in, easy to get out. If you're coming from North Carolina, or if you're going to head south, it's just not a problem. It's a very convenient location. I think unless you've been there, you don't realize how easy it is to get in and out of that location.
You said earlier, you do feel like you're off the grid up here. Literally, as you come up the road, you just feel like you're moving into a different planet. And so to have both that and the easy access, I can get to a grocery store in 15 minutes and everything I should need, hardware stores. So it really is ideal.
You're not that far from Asheville, and the Biltmore Estate is not very far away. The Brevard Music.
And it's gorgeous.
Yeah, you have a lot of music festivals and things of that nature in that part of the country as well. So if you're into music, there's really not much that you can't do if you want to partake. But that's the great thing about South Carolina and North Carolina is they're easy to get around. It's not like you're trying to get across Texas to get to the ranch. You're going to a mountaintop, and I'm going to tell you, when you're standing on top of that mountain and you're looking around, and you can just turn around and look the other way and see it. You can see. I don't know how far you can see. I would sit there and say you can see for hundreds of miles, but it wouldn't surprise me.
You feel like it's forever, and if you're at the top of the mountain, you really do feel like you can see forever. It's magic.
Yeah, it is the. Well, one of the notes that I made about this property earlier today was it truly is Americana. And if you're looking for a piece of Americana and take yourself into a different time, 100 years ago, you could literally, because of, if you walk around on the outside, you're not looking at a lot of modern things. You could literally take yourself back to the 1920s very easily. And
if you should want to, but you may also make some improvements that might move you a little more forward. I tell you.
That's true. That's true. Travis, I think you've got some photographs. Would you like to share a few photos with us? Here we go. That's the and I'll tell you, that's a great porch, by the way. If you'd like a wraparound porch, it's a full-length porch. It's a great place to sit right out there. Go ahead. And there's your pretty much a typical view of what you're going to see if you bid on this property. And I do want to talk about that just a little bit as well. The online bidding is going to open on December the 6th. Online bidding opens on December the 6th, and full terms and conditions can be checked out. You can go to united-scs.com. Again, that is www.united-scs.com. And it will give you a place. You can click it on there, and it will take you to the property. The video that you saw earlier is available to you. The photographs that you're seeing now, that is all right there. But if you're interested in the 166 acres at Clarks Mountain, it's the actual website for the property is SC, which stands, of course, for South Carolina, scmountainauction.com. That's scmountainauction.com. And my friend Michael Rogers is the auctioneer of record for this particular auction. We are working with Brenda Daly with the United Real Estate Office in Aiken, South Carolina. And United SCS is handling the marketing. And then you can see some of the marketing right here and the beautiful views from the lodge or the home. But it's a fantastic place. Paula, do you have any closing thoughts before I wrap this show up?
Well, I will say it's been fun. It's always fun talking about the mountain. And I'm thrilled to be up here today with Brenda. And we'll probably hang out for a while before I go home. It's just lovely.
You'll have to go down to the bottom of the mountain and have lunch or something.
I'm definitely doing that. I'm going to go to the great hardware store here, believe it or not, do a little shopping and have a great time. It'll be a special day for me.
Well, you know, the town there, Landrum, it is very quaint. It has a lot of stores and a lot of local flavor. And so if you're looking for a place to get away, looking for a different place to live, maybe step back and live a simpler life. And when I say simpler, I don't mean like super simple. I'm just saying if you live in a city, you know what I'm talking about. I mean, we're 10 minutes from downtown Dallas right here, and there's nothing simple about living in Dallas, I can tell you. But you can get on an airplane and go into Greenville, Spartanburg, and within 30, 40 minutes be sitting on top of that mountain. That's pretty awesome stuff, I got to tell you.
And I'll tell you, Greenville and Spartanburg are both wonderful places, but Greenville will give you all the city vibe you need, as well as Asheville, which is such a tremendously artistic and vibrant community. So you can get your city fixes and then come home to this.
A lot of companies that have been moving into that area. What are some of the largest companies there in Greenville, Spartanburg?
Well, obviously BMW, Michelin, and after that I'm drawing a blank. Well, of course, Milliken. But we have an amazing number of large companies. Amazon, as I'm thinking of this, I want to say Walmart has huge warehouses and distributors, and there are many others that are coming in various degrees of size, but still significant companies that are looking forward to settling in this area because of the way of life, the fact that really all the things we've talked about today. You know, you still have wonderful school systems, you have wonderful climate, get to the beach, to the mountains easily. We just have a lot to offer in this part of the world.
I will have to say that if someone would like to own this piece of heaven, they have the opportunity to do that. All they need to do is go check out the site, SC, that is South Carolina, scmountainauction.com. It's 166 plus or minus acres on top of a mountain. It has a super lodge that dates back to the early 1900s. And this has been with one family since 1919. It's not been available. This is the first time it's been made available. And you can certainly have your chance to buy it at your price through online auction. And we hope you check it out. Paula, I want to tell you how much I appreciate you. And I know when I had my little health scare a while back, you were very gracious and you called and checked on me. And I know you've been praying and being very kind to me as well. And I appreciate that.
Well, and I have to thank you so much for today. This has actually been fun. And I love talking to you again. So hope all continues to move in the right direction for you.
Listen, every day is a blessing. Don't take it for granted. That's what I've learned in the last 5 weeks.
Listen, I'm right with you.
Yep, if we're vertical, it's all good. Well, thank you very much. And we appreciate you and Brenda today. I want to remind everybody that the show today has been brought to you by our good friends at carsforkids.org. And, if you'd like to write off the car and save the kid, that's the way to do it. Write off the car, and we would like to have you donate. If you have a vehicle, or if you have a truck, or a jet ski, or a forklift, or anything of that nature, you can get an IRS-approved write-off along with a $50 Visa gift card. Just go to carsforkids.org. You can also call 972-274-5437. You tell them that Mike Jones sent you. They've been around since 1992, and they're in all 50 states. So no matter where you're watching this, if you're sitting in South Carolina or North Carolina or Oakland, California, we do have some other projects coming up that I'd love to talk to you about. Of course, we've had our industrial property down in Houston. From what I understand, we just got a contract on that property, and we're looking to close before the end of the year on it. We also are working on a major sports-related auction out in the Bay Area in California that we just returned from, and I'm excited about that one as well. Don't forget my good friends over in Tennessee with the Tennessee Auctioneers Association. My friend Jay Cash and Shane McCarroll are putting together, along with the rest of the organization, an open auctioneers contest, which is going to take place this weekend, I believe Sunday, and that's going to be near the airport in Nashville, Tennessee. It's a $1,000 first prize and $500 for second, and then there's also a contest for rookies as well. And I know that's going to be a good contest. If you've not gotten involved with it, get a hold of those guys or send me a text or an email, and I'll be happy to send you what information I have. But I think that's pretty much the show for today. Trelvis, I appreciate you very much for producing the show. I'm happy to be alive and with you. And come by our property in South Carolina. And for everybody that's been a part of this one in Dallas, Texas, for the Mike McGavel Jones Show, we bid you adieu until next time.